The girl I couldn't save. There are some people who come into your life and stay forever, and there are others who leave far too soon, but somehow remain with you for the rest of your life. For Ryan Carter, she was that person. Her name was Emily Brooks, and for years, Ryan carried one painful thought in his heart. He had loved her. He had promised to protect her, but he couldn't save her. Ryan first met Emily on a cold November evening in Seattle, Washington. He was 29 and worked as a photographer for a small travel magazine. That night, he had stopped at a quiet coffee shop after work. Emily was sitting alone near the window. She was reading a paperback novel and drinking hot chocolate. Ryan noticed her because she kept smiling at the same page. He couldn't help himself. "What are you reading?" Emily looked up. "A book." Ryan smiled. "I figured that out. Then why did you ask?" "Because you look like you're enjoying it." She closed the book. "Maybe I am." "What is it about?" "Love." Ryan laughed. "That's dangerous." Emily raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "Because most love stories lie." She smiled. "Maybe you just haven't read a good one." That was their first conversation. It lasted less than 5 minutes. But Ryan returned to that coffee shop the next evening. And Emily was there again. The night after that, she was there too. Soon, seeing each other became part of their routine. Ryan would bring his camera. Emily would bring her book. They would sit across from each other and talk for hours. She was 27. She worked at a children's library and dreamed of opening a small bookstore someday. Ryan loved the way she talked about ordinary things: rain, books, music, little children who couldn't decide which story to borrow. Emily had a way of making simple things feel important. One evening, Ryan asked her, "Why do you always come here alone?" Emily smiled. "Maybe I was waiting for someone." "Who?" She looked at him. "You." Ryan laughed. "I wasn't even here when you started coming." "I know. Then how could you be waiting for me?" She shrugged. "Maybe I was early." Ryan remembered that sentence for the rest of his life. Their relationship began quietly. There were no dramatic declarations, no perfect movie moments, just two people slowly becoming each other's favorite person. Ryan took Emily on long drives outside Seattle. They watched sunsets near the water. They ate cheap pizza on rainy nights. They danced in his apartment when their favorite song came on. Emily loved making breakfast. Ryan loved pretending he knew how to cook. He didn't. One morning, he burned the toast so badly that Emily laughed for almost 5 minutes. "You're terrible." "I was distracted." "By what?" "You." She smiled. That was a good answer. Ryan walked over and kissed her forehead. "I've been practicing." Emily rested her head against his chest. "I think I'm falling in love with you." Ryan looked down at her. "I think I already did." For a while, life was kind to them. They started talking about the future. Emily wanted a little house with a bookstore downstairs. Ryan wanted a studio where he could photograph the world. They joked about having a dog, maybe 2 children, maybe living somewhere near the ocean. Their dreams weren't perfect, but they were theirs. Then Ryan began noticing something. Emily was tired all the time. At first, she blamed work, then stress, then the weather. Ryan didn't push, but one afternoon Emily fainted at the library. The doctors ran several tests. A few days later, she received the diagnosis. She had a serious heart condition. She needed surgery. There was a good chance it would work, but there was also a risk. Emily didn't tell Ryan immediately. She was afraid, not of the surgery, of losing him. When Ryan finally found out, he was devastated. "You should have told me. I didn't want you to worry." "Emily, I love you." "I know. Then let me worry with you." She started crying. Ryan held her. "I've got you. I don't want you to lose me. You're not going anywhere." But deep inside, Ryan was terrified. He spent every day researching hospitals, talking to doctors, finding specialists. He even canceled a major photography assignment because he didn't want to leave Emily alone. She became angry. "You have a life too. You're my life. That's not fair." "What's not fair?" "You giving up everything for me." Ryan looked at her. "I don't see it as giving anything up." She hugged him. "I wish I could promise you everything." "You don't have to." "What do I have to promise?" Ryan smiled. "Promise me you'll come back." Emily looked into his eyes. "I promise." The night before her surgery, they sat together beside her hospital window. Seattle was covered in rain. Emily held Ryan's hand. "Do you remember our first conversation? You asked me what I was reading. You said love stories lie." Ryan smiled. "I was wrong." Emily leaned against him. "No, you were right." Ryan looked at her. "Why?" "Because the best love stories aren't perfect." She paused. "They hurt." Ryan squeezed her hand. "Don't say that. I need to." "Why?" "Because if something happens tomorrow, nothing is going to happen." "Ryan." He looked at her. She was crying. If something happens, I don't want you to spend your life thinking you failed me. Ryan's eyes filled with tears. I won't let anything happen to you. Emily smiled. You can't control everything. I wish I could. I know. She kissed him. I love you. I love you more. You always say that, because it's true. She smiled. Then prove it. How? Keep living if I don't come back. Ryan shook his head. Don't ask me that. Promise me. He couldn't answer. Emily kissed his cheek. Please. Ryan finally whispered, I promise. The next morning, Emily was taken into surgery. Ryan sat outside the operating room. 4 hours passed, then 5. He walked the hallway. He prayed. He called Emily's sister. He sat down, then stood again. He couldn't stay still. Finally, the surgeon came out. Ryan immediately stood. Doctor? The surgeon's expression said everything. I'm sorry. Ryan felt the world disappear. No. The doctor continued speaking, but Ryan couldn't hear the words. There had been complications. They had tried everything, but Emily was gone. The girl he loved, the girl who had promised to come back, wasn't coming back. Ryan walked into her hospital room later that afternoon. Her bed was empty. Her things were still there. A book, her phone, a small silver bracelet. Ryan picked it up. He held it against his chest. And for the first time since he had met her, he cried without trying to hide it. Months passed. Ryan returned to work. But he wasn't the same. He stopped taking photographs. He stopped going to the coffee shop. He stopped talking about the future. 1 year later, he finally returned to the place where he had first met Emily, the same coffee shop, the same window, the same table. He sat down. A young woman was reading a book nearby. For a moment, Ryan thought he was seeing Emily. Then he smiled sadly. He understood something. Emily had never wanted him to spend the rest of his life mourning her. She had wanted him to live. So Ryan picked up his camera again. He started photographing people. Not buildings, not landscapes. People, their smiles, their families, their ordinary moments. Because Emily had taught him that ordinary moments were sometimes the most valuable ones. Years later, Ryan opened a small photography studio near the ocean. On the wall was one photograph. It wasn't a photograph of Emily. It was a photograph of the coffee shop window where they had first met. Beneath it, Ryan had written only one sentence. She taught me that love doesn't have to last forever to change you forever. Ryan never stopped missing Emily. He never pretended he had, but he finally understood something. Saving someone doesn't always mean keeping them alive. Sometimes, someone saves you by teaching you how to live after they're gone. Emily couldn't stay, but she had left Ryan something more powerful than a lifetime. She had left him memories, the sound of her laugh, the warmth of her hand, the books she loved, the dreams they shared, and the courage to keep going. Every November, Ryan returned to that same coffee shop. He ordered 2 hot chocolates. He sat beside the window. And for a few quiet minutes, he imagined Emily sitting across from him, still smiling, still reading, still teasing him about his terrible cooking. Then he would smile and whisper, I kept my promise, because he had kept living, he had loved. He had built the life they once dreamed about, and even though he couldn't save the girl he loved, Emily had saved him in a way he would never forget. She taught him that sometimes the deepest love stories don't end with 2 people growing old together. Sometimes they end with one person carrying the love forward for both of them.